Hey Ian, McCarron. We're still raining and booming around here. I don't know why this storm came in, but it's probably going to go on for a week. I've mentioned in the past, for some reason, I seem to run across a lot of Scientology videos. A lot of people who talk about how it's a mean, evil, horrible, manipulative child trafficking cult. Of course, all these people seem to have left Scientology, and they might be a little bit biased, but it might also be true. Who knows? But my favorite one, I don't know if you've ever heard of her. Her name is Jenna Miscavige. I believe she's the niece of the guy who runs Scientology, or the leader of it. I don't know what the inner politics of Scientology are, but David Miscavige. But the thing I like about her is, like there's this one guy named Aaron, and he's kind of predictable, but it's also he's predictable in that he divulges all this stuff about Scientology and what's wrong about it, and talks about it as this child trafficking cult. But he's actually very clear about what he's doing. Some people talk about he's only in it for the money, or he's just trying to get clicks, or he claims to be trying to give money to people, but he's really in it for himself. But several times he said that they tried to ruin his life, so he's trying to ruin them. So that's pretty straightforward. I don't know him for real. I just know what I see on YouTube. Jenna, I don't know her either, but she just seems a little bit more approachable, more human, I guess. I don't know. I'm not saying Aaron isn't human. It's just the way she is, though. She'll sit there and talk about Scientology and all the childhood trauma she went around there. Apparently, according to these people, Scientology you're an eternal soul, and when you get born, you already know all this stuff you knew before, so you don't really need to have all that childhood drama that a lot of us go through. You should just kind of be aware of it, and they're trying to help wake you up. But if you're a child, it's kind of traumatic, because you're not getting the soothing that most children need. Again, I'm guessing. I didn't grow up in Scientology. But she'll talk about this, and then, the next episode, she'll be baking cookies. Or making a pie. Or she's just going for a walk in the park. Or she's making some art, or she's showing clothes or lipstick she likes. And I just find that kind of endearing and lovely. Because, she's sharing what she does daily, combined with her experience of this group. And she's also fairly revealing about her emotions. She doesn't hide behind them. A lot of people, some of the presenters, I think they're trying to act tough and they don't care about what people think and everything, but I think that's more just their protective system. And a lot of it seems to be somewhat self-absorbed and narcissistic. I mean, we're all self-absorbed and narcissistic, but they seem a little bit more. But she's also done these great videos with, I think it's Tim, I can't remember his name. I'll say Edelson, but that doesn't seem right. But he's going over complex trauma, which I have. And I'm learning some things from it. I do kind of wonder about the whole Jenna and a lot of these people keep pointing at Scientology like they caused the trauma. Except I was highly traumatized and I never had anything to do with Scientology. So I think it's a more universal thing. I get that Scientology can be fairly rough. And my impression of it was just started by a self-important narcissist who wanted to talk to himself and cure his inner thoughts, and then shared it with a bunch of other self-important narcissists who are trying to deny their humanity and acting like they're something else, and they get lost in their beliefs and systems and thoughts. They don't become human. But perhaps, if you think you're an eternal soul, who wants to be a human? I don't agree with that personally. But if you have complex trauma or any kind of trauma, actually I would suggest following her, because it's just kind of cool how she can operate. All this stuff happening. I had this trauma, and this is how I think, and this is how I treat people. And oh, look, we're making cookies. I just find it really fun and very informative. I've always heard about, you got vibes, and I was like, oh, what's that? That's just words. But then one of the things Tim talks about is our nervous system. I tend to think I'm my thoughts. That's what my thoughts are, and the body's just kind of doing things. That's how I was brought up. But apparently you have a whole nervous system that's designed to protect you and feed and run things, and it also gets traumatized, and that's outside of thought. And it's just kind of opening my being up, I guess, to being present more than, it's not just the psychological trauma, there's the physiological stuff that happened on. And as I become calmer and more peaceful and have realized I actually can let it go and change, I think it's pretty valuable. And if you're interested in this, I suggest you go check her out, because I try to talk about letting go of trauma, but I don't know, she's more intense, I would say. She's just really good at discussing it. I'm good at explaining it. When I watch her, it's more like I get the sense of she's explaining it, and yet she's feeling it more. Don't know. On the other hand, I like to share about it. As I've told you all in the past, I used to be dark, mean, vindictive, miserable, self-loathing, and now I'm calm and peaceful, and combination of meditation and prayer and self-reflection and, believe it or not, eating better food. People always told me to get off sugar, and I was like, But once you get off of sugar, you don't feel bloated, and your body doesn't feel... It's almost like sugar is like an opium. It suppresses feelings. I've actually read it connects into your cells the same place that opium or heroin would, so it's really is kind of a drug, and it's in almost all the foods and drinks that we have. That helped a lot. Just sitting quietly with the television off for a couple hours, just listening to the birds and getting in contact with what humans are supposed to be, what we're designed to be like, which is interacting with nature. That really helped. And just accepting that in my traumatized state, whatever I looked for in that state was going to be a reflection of that state, so it wasn't going to get me out of trauma. I just had to accept that something else in me deeper in was going to change things, which seems to be this nervous system. I seem to have some kind of inner being. I've said many times, if you watch your thoughts, they just kind of flow with or without you. It's like you can control them while you're working on a project, but then they go wandering off all over the place doing whatever they want. And yet there's always this central attention that's always here. And it seems to me that is who you are. Not all the thoughts and the projects and everything. And the thoughts and the projects, they tend to take up your whole attention, so you don't pay attention, you don't get that central being's just here, always present. And yet it is always here, always present. So that's what I have to say. I like watching Jenna Miscavige's videos. I recommend them. And mine, of course. And as always, dsmccarron.com. I got merch for sale. I got a music teaching book for sale. I got some of my history. Got more podcasts there. So I invite you. Thank you very much. Bye.